Hello and welcome back to AJ's podcast. This is the Stream of Consciousness podcast. And this is the episode called AJ's Sitting in a Car podcast. Because I'm sitting in a car and I'm recording a rough podcast. So, I think that the topic for today should be yellow, because I'm wearing some yellow pants, and I also think that yellow will brighten your day, because the sun looks yellow, but don't look at the sun for too long, otherwise, you're just gonna probably end up blind, or just seeing spots for the next half hour. I've tried it, it's not that great. They said sun gazing would be good for you, and I believed it, and then for a half hour I was seeing spots. So I don't think it's a good idea. But yellow is a really great color. It's a warm color. It's a color that, to me, represents happiness, because back in my day, when I was like a kid, Walmart had a smiley face, and it was yellow. And in the one in East Windsor, the Walmart over there, they used to have a helipad landing thing on their roof with the smiley face, and it was yellow. So ever since I was a kid, I just always associated that yellow color with happiness. And I think a lot of people do too, because of like sunflowers and shit, Like, that's a pretty damn happy color. That's a damn happy flower right there, sunflower. When sunflowers can't find the sun, they look at each other. They're like, you are my sunshine, bro. That's pretty cool, man. Be more like a sunflower, I think, is a good message with the yellow stuff. The only kind of yellow stuff that I personally don't really like all that much is pollen from, ironically, the flowers in the springtime, because that shit's yellow and it makes me sneeze a whole bunch, and then I have to take Benadryl. And we already know the story about Benny and the Green, so fuck you mean. Anyways, that was a reference to my fuck you mean freestyle when I was like, I took a little too much Benadryl. I'm a lightweight when it comes to that stuff anyway. Ever since I quit drugs, I just became a lightweight to normal things like fucking Benadryl. Took 50 milligrams that day and did a whole freestyle when I was spaced out. But, that gravity bong be hitting too. But the other thing that's yellow is Tonka trucks. I don't know if y'all remember Tonka trucks back in the day, but they were all yellow, and there was like different kinds. I used to have a few of them when I was a kid and shit. And the first time I ever saw a Tonka truck in real life, I was like, damn, that's so much bigger than I'm used to. And, mind you, I'm like a little fucking kid. And so I'm like looking at it, I'm like, dude, the tire is like 3 times the size as me. And now as an adult, I still don't understand how like people can drive those things so accurately with such precision when they're doing work. Like, good job for you guys in construction and all that stuff, because I don't think that's my job. You know what I mean? That's not my specialty, But you have big-ass yellow Tonka trucks, and I fuck with that. And that's really cool, man. Not exactly my job, but that's fucking cool. Y'all are killing it out there building shit. Or if you're a demolition crew, you're really doing a good job destroying shit so that people can build new shit. Yeah. But the other thing that is yellow is mustard. And you could put mustard on a lot of stuff. And the reason why mustard is so popular is because there's so many different flavors that include mustard that people don't realize. Like, did you know that Chick-fil-A sauce has mustard in it? Bro, when I found that out, I'm like, damn. And then I realized that I love it so much because in Chick-fil-A sauce, they put super addicting chemicals. And I'm not going to cap, it worked. I love Chick-fil-A sauce, and that's also yellow. Now I want me some chicken. You know, chickens could be yellow. They could be. I think some of them have yellow in them, if I'm remembering what a chicken looks like correctly. And then, what is the other one? Ducks. Yeah, sometimes ducks are yellow, not all the time. There's a lot of brown and green ducks around here. But I'm pretty sure ducks and chickens and other birds eat some seeds that are sometimes yellow. They probably do. The other thing that's yellow is like people's headlights. You know, unless you got them dumbass halogen lights that just blind people on the road. If you're one of those people and you're listening to this, turn down your light's brightness or just get warmer light, because that shit really does blind people on the road. And y'all don't even have your high beams on. That shit's crazy. I mean, good for you with bright lights, but like, damn, I can't see when the bright lights are shining in my face. Especially when I'm driving into parts where there's no, like, street lights. You know, that should be blinding. But if you had yellow lights, you know, that would be a different story. It wouldn't be as blinding. But the other yellow lights that kind of make me question as to if somebody is, like, changing the traffic signal is, like, a yellow light will always happen. And you're just not sure if it's going to be long enough of a yellow light to go through it or to stop. And so it's a real fuzzy game sometimes. And I feel like there's a dude with a switchboard that's just watching us on the street cameras laughing. Like, ha ha ha, he thinks he can go through this. It's going to change red now. Instead of making it be like, 5 seconds of a yellow light, he just made it 2 seconds of a yellow light. But what's really confusing is when the yellow light starts blinking after it was red. You know those intersections where, like, it's like blinking yellow and then it turns red and then it turns back to blinking yellow and then sometimes it'll turn green with an arrow or some shit? Yeah. Those are confusing sometimes, especially in Southern Mass. Y'all in Southern Mass, I'm sorry, but you got some confusing-ass roads. Confusing. No wonder why you guys drive the way that you do. I don't blame you. You're literally in the asshole of Massachusetts. That's why we call you guys massholes. Because you're literally coming from Springfield, which is the asshole of Massachusetts that dumps all the way down Connecticut and then into Long Island Sound. That's the only way that I can explain it. Because Springfield's the last little city. So if you look at, like, Massachusetts and, like, the whole thing, like, that's pretty much where the butthole of Massachusetts would be. Just speaking literally, like, on a map. You know? And it's no offense to you guys, because you guys grew up, probably driving around that shit all the time. No pun intended there, actually. But the thing that I don't know is why there's so much traffic caused by people that simply slow down. That's my question. If everybody gave each other just a little bit more room on the road, we wouldn't have traffic. You know what I mean? Weird thought. But everybody's driving on the road. We're all, like, driving on the road. So why not give, like, people a little extra space? Because then you won't have to brake as hard and the person behind you won't have to brake as hard, and then it's a chain reaction. Nobody's going to have to brake as hard. Maybe just drive the speed limit. What a thought. But you don't want to cross the yellow line, because that'll get you a traffic violation if a cop sees it, most likely. Unless the cop just doesn't care and he's on his cell phone or lunch break. But it'd be like that. I'm sure sometimes a drop of mustard would get on your shirt if you were eating, and you're like a cop on your lunch break, and you could be a hot dog, you could be eating a hot dog or a hamburger, a little bit of mustard gets on there. Do you guys carry like this is not a real question, this is just a silly question. Do you guys have like little like wipes to clean off your little shirt there? I don't know. If I had mustard on my shirt, I would want a little wipe to wipe it off. But you know what else is yellow? Corn. Corn is yellow. And you can have like corn on the cob. I prefer it on the grill. And I like to do my corn on the cob on the grill with like a tomato. I'll just wrap that tomato up in some tin foil and put it next to my corn that's wrapped in tin foil. And then what I'll do is I'll cook them both. And I like it so that it's like the optimal juiciness for those veggies. Well, actually, technically, tomato is a fruit. But I don't know what these Gen Z, Gen A mandala effects are. But, people always say it's a Mandela effect. But if you think about it, it's more like a mandala effect. If you really think about it. Because all these things overlap like a mandala, not a Mandela. That was just one dude who became a Mandela effect. Because nobody reported it correctly. But I digress. Sometimes I feel like the best thing to do in the morning is eat a banana. Because bananas are yellow. And sometimes if you eat some like if you have a protein shake, you could put the banana in that. And that's pretty awesome. And goldfish are also yellow and orange. Sometimes they're more orange than yellow. It depends on what yellow is to you. But whatever yellow is to you, find that yellow happiness. Because you deserve it. You deserve that bright Walmart smiley face staring at you with a big happy face because he's happy to see you. You deserve some positivity. So go and find out where that yellow is today. All the happiness in the world. Alright, this is AJ's podcast, signing off. Peace.